If you guys are still playing FC24 and you want some cheap coins, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you do use my code Rema, it will give you a lovely 5% discount off your order. So, what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Hope you guys are all having a great day, evening, depending on the time zone you're in when this comes out. And yeah, in today's video we have some 4-4-2 tactics if you're still playing FC24, although I know a lot of people are still on the game, but they're mainly doing like those infinite 84-10s and stuff. But if you're still looking to play with your team and you want something that's quite effective and basic, then this 4-4-2 will help you very much. So yeah, with all that aside guys, let's get right into the video. Okay then guys, so starting off with these tactics, for the defensive style, I always have this on balanced. Those of you that have been around on the channel for a while now know I always use balanced, as I always say it is the most controlled when you are defending. When you want to be aggressive and press your opponent, of course you can do that, and then when you want to drop off, maybe be that bit more passive, you can also do that. So balanced is just the best of both worlds in my opinion, and when it comes to applying pressure, there's better methods which we'll get onto in a moment. Moving on to the defensive width, I know this seems really low, but I have been using 25. The reason 25 has been so good is because we have these top tier players now, so you can actually defend in a really narrow shape, so there's not too much width at all, but what happens is you completely compact that middle area, you completely congest it, making it very difficult for your opponent to play right through you. It's made even better by the fact a lot of the players now have like block plus, intercept plus, and really crazy defensive AI, so it's just really difficult to play through. And the compensation for this low width is that the players are obviously very fast now, very good. You can just quickly get out to them even if they are down the wings. So, you know, this has been really good for me, but if you want to up it, then that is fine as well. Now, moving on to the depth, guys. Throughout the year, I've not been a big advocate of 100 depth. Sorry, I keep stuttering. But as the games got older, I've really come to like it, especially with, like I said, how overpowered these players are now. So the reason 100 depth is so good is because the AI basically does 90% of the work for you, and it allows you to get the ball back very quickly because nobody likes sitting and defending for the whole game. So 100 depth is good because you get that automatic press from the AI, which completely marks pretty much all the options. It completely congests that middle area, and you have a high defensive line to go with it. So yeah, it's very effective at getting the ball back, and obviously with these top tier cards we have now, it's not too much of an issue on the counter attack as such. Now, moving on to the build-up play, guys. I have this on balanced, as I always do, because I feel like it gives you the most controlled, the most fluid type of build-up. So when you use balance, guys, you can basically pick between the different build-up styles whenever you want to. So, for example, if you want to start off building up slowly, you can do that, and then if you want to maybe speed it up a bit and play a bit faster, you can also do that. So it allows you to like mix and match, and I think the AI is the most consistent with balanced. I think with these individual settings here, the AI is a little bit messed up. I don't really think it helps you do what it says it does, if that makes sense. So balance is what I would always go with. Now for the chance creation, guys, luckily this is getting removed in FC25 because it's really annoying, but direct passing. Now the reason it's so good in FC24 is because it's the only way to consistently break through that part of the bus defensive AI, which is present in pretty much every game. So the reason this works is because your attackers will make these runs, and then the defenders will follow your attacker making the run, and then once the defender has overcommitted to the run that your attacker has made, your attacker then does like a track back movement, so then you can pass or cut back to them. So yeah, it's pretty much the only way to break through that part of the bus defense, but yeah, it's very effective in this game. Now for the attacking width, you can pretty much do what you want with this. All you really need to know is the higher the attacking width, the wider your attack. The lower the width, the more narrow your attack. So make of that what you will. The average range I would go for is like 40 to 60, 40 being obviously like the more narrow, and then 60 being a bit wider. So that's the kind of range I would aim for, but pick what you want based on how you play. Now for the players in the box, we have this on 7. I find this to be the perfect balance where you get quite a few players into that penalty area, but you don't completely overcommit to the point where you're not always going to get counter-attacked if you lose out on possession. And then for these corners and free kicks, guys, you can pretty much use what you want. I have them on 3 at the moment, but it doesn't matter. This is all down to you. Now, for the player instructions, guys, they are pretty basic, but Yeah, I'm gonna go through them anyway. It's been one of the biggest issues with FC24. Tactics have been very linear, very one-dimensional because the game forces you to play a specific way. I remember in like other years, a lot more different tactics were viable, but this year you kind of have to do what we do here, where we have these two strikers on stay central and get in behind. So we have them on stay central because we don't want them drifting out into that wider area. We have the right mid and the left mid, and having them on stay central makes them more reliable, as you always have that focal point up top. You always have somebody to aim for. So stay central just keeps them in that correct position, and then getting behind is very important because it forces runs out of the players regardless. Now, mixed attack can be pretty good if your opponent is not using a pressure tactic or that 100 depth thing we talked about, but at this point in the game a lot of people are using that. So mixed attack kind of gets broken when somebody uses that pressure tactic because your players get a little bit lost. They get very static and they don't offer you anything at all. So getting behind forces those runs at all times and makes your players more consistent. So they're the two instructions I would go on for both strikers. Now for the right mid and the left mid in this formation, guys, we have come back on defense, cut inside, getting behind and get into the box across. Come back on defense just ensures that these players take up the correct position when we don't have the ball. On basic defensive support, if you don't have like a high player, sometimes these players can get very lazy and it defends in more like a 4-2-4, which is obviously not a very good shape. So come back on defense just ensures that they will sit in that correct position regardless of their work rate. Obviously if you have a high defensive work rate, they'll get back into position quicker, but they'll still follow that instruction. Now we also have them on cut inside because it's an AI movement I like, where these players start their runs out in those wider positions and then make those diagonal transitional runs into the more narrow areas. I like this. I think it's a really good AI movement. You can play a lot of good through balls with it, but I'm aware not everybody will like this, so you don't have to use this if you don't want to. We also have them on get in behind because it's kind of similar to what I said about the strikers being on mixed attack. If you don't put the left mid and right mid on getting behind, they'll basically just sit there. They won't offer you anything and you get boxed in. So getting behind forces them to make those runs down the line. And I also pop them on get into the box across so they do not hesitate in getting into that penalty area and helping you score more goals. Now, for this left centre mid, the more defensive of the two, we pop them on stay back and cover centre. I say it's always important to have like one centre mid that can stay back and the other that's more of a box to box. That's just the balance you need, otherwise your team just doesn't perform the way that they should. That's just my opinion. So on this more defensive minded player, stay back, cover centre, so you've always got that anchor and they'll cover that middle area as opposed to the wing because we already have the left mid and right mid covering those wider positions. Now for this right centre mid, the more box to box style player, we just leave them on the default settings. This is so that they're not restricted. They can do a bit of everything, attack, defend, and you just let them do what they want. The only thing I change is cover center so that they will cover that middle area as opposed to the wing. Now, moving on to the fullbacks. If you remember, I said I have my right mid and left mid on cut inside. So this means that the right mid and left mid will start their runs out in that wider position and then run into the more narrow areas next to those strikers. What that does is leave a lot of space out wide, which, you know, needs to be utilized in order for your team to be effective. So what we do is have the more attacking fullback on balanced overlap. This player will then occupy that space, stretch out the opposition defense and give you that wider option, which makes you a lot more unpredictable in attack. So I do highly recommend this on your more attacking fullback. Doesn't matter which one, can be a left back, but for me, I have it on my right back. Now, for the other fullback, we have them on stay back and overlap. This is so we always have at least 3 defenders back at a time, but when we send them on that run forward, just like the other fullback, they'll make that overlapping run to give us that extra width. For those 2 centre-backs, of course, we don't touch them, and then the goalkeeper, I also leave them alone. But yeah, guys, they are my tactics and instructions for the 4-4-2. I hope you guys have enjoyed or found it useful. If you have, please be sure to drop it a thumbs up. Sub to the channel if you are new, so you never miss out on any videos for FC25. And yeah, with all that aside, guys, hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys, and take care.